Flashback to about maybe 15 years ago in the early 2000s when you were splashing in puddles, walking to school, and just giving no care in the world. Ah yes, the childhood life. When your biggest worries was getting in trouble for not being inside the house early enough. This life consists of riding on roller coasters, running from dogs, jumping on trampolines, watching your favorite TV shows, playing at recess, riding bikes, and catching fireflies. The best part of all, we were all having fun. And the crazy thing about it all was one of our biggest wishes as a kid was to grow up. Our imaginations took us to the ends of the world, or even past the world. Heck, some people want to become an astronaut, or to go to space, or something along the lines of that. And one of the biggest lies that we all thought to ourselves was that we would be absolutely invincible. Well, we learned pretty quickly that that was not the absolute case. Fast forward to present day, and man, we got a lot of stuff going on. First up, we've got inflation. Yeah, things have been going up for within the last 5 or 6 years. But now, everything has gone up dramatically to the point where we can't even afford it. Things that used to be like literally a quarter on a quarter are now $1 on $1. Then we've got taxes. Taxes have always gone up throughout the years since we've been in this country, but it's gotten to a point now where some people can't even afford to even pay them. Some states are pretty lenient with taxes, but there are some other states that just tax you just because. And most times, it's not even for the good of the community. It kind of goes somewhere else. Then we've got rent, or if you own a house, mortgage. When it comes to those things, man, it's so stressful. You see, anything that's linked to having a roof over your head is always important, but constantly having to keep tabs on it every day for the rest of your life, oh my god. And there's being a parent. Most people really don't have to worry about being a parent unless you had kids at the age of 15. But when you become one, it becomes a whole new ball game because you're not just worrying about your livelihood, you're worrying about someone else's as well. So your responsibilities triple even more so than they should. After that, we've got the pandemic. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have gone through a pandemic in one way or another. But this past one's a little bit different than the one we've seen in past years. It's rare that we've ever seen a pandemic that's absolutely shut down an entire country, or even so the world. And also the things that comes with it, like protests and all the other great stuff. Then we got the factor that kids don't even want to go to school nowadays, and their aspirations are kind of starting to drop a bit. And with that, rolls me right into my very next point, Generation Hell. Or, as we all call it, Generation Alpha. I'd throw Generation Z in here, but we kind of barely made it past the cutoff point. Generation Alpha is just absolutely fried right now. And Z is not that far behind. Then we got the factor that nobody can find a house at all. Like, trying to find a house underneath 500K is literally mission impossible. And if you do find one under that, usually the quality one will most likely be in the South somewhere. Problem is with that, the South really doesn't want people from all around the country coming to their land. And what's even worse is being able to find a partner within this day and age. In general terms, most people can't even find someone to be with, even for the rest of their lives. And our society hasn't made it any easier neither. From there, we got your run-of-the-mill world tensions, diplomatic issues across the river, or, thoughts that we might go to World War III or something along the lines of that. That is really, really stressful in its own self. Throw that in there with immigration and politics, and when you really sit down to think about it, it's really a sad reality to be an adult. To even encompass an even bigger question, why do we hate being an adult? Well, I mean, it's different for everyone, but a few things that will encompass pretty much the general population is stress. Now, why do we stress? When you put it into perspective, the world is literally trying to murder us. So what do we do to cope with it most times? Well, for some people, they drink a beer. Maybe a few beers. Maybe too many beers, but point is, it's a coping mechanism. For others, well, they smoke a few blunts. Maybe too many blunts. Maybe some weed. But same thing. Lastly, pills. Well, some people take pills to, make sure their health's okay, but other people take it unprescribed, like Adderall, lean, and so much more. Then there's the responsibilities of being an adult. Societal pressures is one of the situations where, responsibilities kind of push a lot of people, but then, a lot of times it's just family. No, I'm not trying to reference Dominic Toretto, but it's really a true thing when it comes to that. And there's fear. Being an adult has its fears of life. Like dying, being killed, being sent to World War III, being drafted, and all that other great stuff of the political world. Then there's the pain. As you get older, you start to bring in more pain into the body. Like your legs not being able to work no more, your arms not being able to work no more, can't see, things of that nature. And lastly, just dealing with people in general. Interacting with different types of people is a bit of a chore. Unfortunately, for every single one of us, we've probably had to do that at some point or another. Going back to, just being a kid, why did we want to become adults in the first place? I mean, it's a place that has so much misery and destruction and sadness. Well, one of the biggest fantasies as a kid that we've always thought was being an adult and having the power to do things, the ability to go places, and the ability to do anything that we wanted at any time. Perfect analogy for this would be like becoming king. You kind of got all the power, the land, and the ability to rule everyone. But the bigger back-end problem was the forgotten part about the job. The responsibilities, the stress, the pain, having to interact with people, and maybe even having to deal with something coming out of your borders, like, an attack on your kingdom or an attack on your life. Sounds pretty familiar, huh? In the end, being an adult has its pros and its cons. However, the reality is, if you really want to make it as an adult, be kind to people. Treat people with respect. Find something you can do that makes you at least enjoy the world, and find a way to make life worthwhile. Aside from that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Peace!